Welcome to our second talk for July. This is going to be still with the kitchen on kitchen gadgets. I'm Jenn
And
Lin.
and I'm Debbie, and I'm going to take this one. For somebody that doesn't cook, I have a lot of kitchen gadgets. People laugh every time they open my kitchen. Like, what is it for? Oh, it's this. You do it now, but I haven't. All right. So these are some top must-haves. You need a chef's knife, like 8-inch, and a paring knife, 3 to 4 inches. A cutting board. Glass is best to avoid bacteria. When you cut anything on a wooden or plastic, you're cutting into the material. So any juices, any bacteria that's in there with glass, you don't have that. Try to avoid anything other than glass cutting boards. You want to have a 5-in-1 can opener, vegetable peeler, a digital thermometer so you can test the temperature of your food, because when they tell you when the internal temperature reaches this, well, you can't just look at the oven and go, oh, the oven says it's 325. Well, that doesn't mean that your chicken is at the same temperature. So you want to use the digital thermometer, stick it in your meat, make sure everything is cooked to the right temperature, or you're going to get sick and get food poisoning. Silicone tongues. I use plastic and silicone spatulas, cooking spoons, and anything like that, because the metal ones, they scratch your pots and pans. They're harder to clean. Things get stuck on them. Oh, yeah. I don't want metal by my food. Mixing bowls. They usually will sell, you'll go to Sam's or something, and they'll sell maybe 3 different or 4 different size mixing bowls. I prefer the glass because years ago people used to use Tupperware, but when you mix ware, you nick the Tupperware and that plastic is getting into your food. So I prefer glass mixing bowls. Measuring cups and spoons. Stainless steel is durable, so those are the ones I prefer. A sturdy colander. They have bigger ones and smaller ones. It depends, because there's a steamer that you can buy that you can use the steamer part as a colander as well. You want to have a decent sized one for when you flip out your pasta, or a smaller one if you're making just for one person. Make sure it's sturdy. You want to have a whisk. That's good for when you're baking and mixing your eggs. Kitchen shears. Okay, this is my thing. Cutting meat. I watch people do this with a knife in there. You can cut chicken and all that other stuff with scissors, kitchen shears. So that's what I use also. And for veggies, now make sure that you have 2 separate ones so that you know which one is for the meat and which one is for your veggies. And they sell them in the store, specifically a veggie shear and a meat shear. Personally, glass and microwave safe are the best. You got to remember, anything that you're doing, you don't want anything where bacteria can get into the plastic, the rubber, whatever it is of the food that you have or that you're saving for leftovers, and then you're going to reheat, because that's going to get into your food, and that's very bad for you. You want to have a bottle opener and a corkscrew. A blender for soups and sauces. Some people have that little ninja thing, and that's fine. But if you want to make yourself some pina coladas, you can't make them in a ninja. I like a box grater. It's better than hand graters for cheese and veggies.
Ice graters are so much easier.
Well, and I have a mandolin too, which is really nice. But make sure you get the mandolin. That's got a thing, you hold it in your hand like this, and there's a piece here that holds the vegetable or whatever you're doing. Because I didn't have that when I was at my daughter's once, and I was helping fix dinner for Christmas, and I took the top of my finger off right inside the vegetables I was slicing. So have a microplane. And everybody goes, what's a microplane? It's a high precision style. It's a kitchen grater known for its exceptionally sharp photo etched stainless steel teeth. And it's a standard tool that's used for zesting. That's like removing the flavorful colored skin on your lemons or oranges. The things about this big.
Like the
And
things that they use when you get your pedicure.
yes, those are
But
good.
it's
Like,
an integrator, but it's for your fruit.
yeah, you buy it in the store. But
Yeah.
yeah, like when sometimes they'll tell you to put the zest of an orange in what you're baking, and that's what this is good for, because you don't want the orange in it. You just want the skin, the flavorful skin. You want to also a toaster oven and or a microwave. I prefer both. I have a toaster oven. What I recommend is one that's like, it's a toaster oven, it's a air fryer, and it's a convection oven all in one. So, because when you're first starting out, you're not going to have these huge kitchens. So, if you can have a 3-in-1 appliance, and generally your microwave is going to be above the stove, so you don't have to worry about finding space for that. Also, a compact food processor. This makes it easy when they tell you, well, blend this, do that. Throw it all in there and it takes care of everything for you. You don't have to get these big ones that they show on TV. I have one, it's about that big and about that big around. It does perfect. You want to have a rice cooker. They have and not only will it cook rice, but you can also steam vegetables and everything else in there. A hand mixer. I have a hand mixer. I also had one of those big ones with the bowl and the whole thing in that. If you're going to bake, those are good, but they're heavy, they're bulky, and they cost more than a little hand mixer, which can mix your batter, your pancakes, your eggs, whatever you want.
Don't bother with the KitchenAid unless you plan on cooking for a large family. If you have a big family to cook for, it's helpful, but by yourself,
The hand one is perfect. Get a good one because a good one, they got a bunch of speeds and don't go cheap. I always say when you buy appliances, anything in life, you get what you pay for. So if you buy a cheap one, it's going to be cheap and it's going to break. Pizza cutter.
can I pipe in that real quick, Debbie, with the hand blenders? What you can do is I found the best gadgets like the hand mixers for the appliances at garage sales. And they're like the old ones that my grandma used to have. They last forever. And they're not like the ones I think we talked about it before, the planned obsolescence where they're making things to break. So you have to keep buying it over and over again. You get those garage sale finds from estate sales and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're just not being used or they're extra. That's like, oh, I want to get the new stuff. Those old appliances that have those real sturdy cords, those are built to last and they break
Yeah.
down. I still have some appliances. A couple of them I got at a garage sale, my hand blender and things like that. And you're not paying as much either. I just thought I wanted to throw that out there when you brought the hand blender.
Yeah, that's a good option. Not one for me because I don't buy secondhand anything because it's all about the germs. But for somebody else, yeah, that's perfect. And it's true. The older ones, everything that was made years ago was made 10 times better because they made it to last. Today, it's a money making thing, just like your phones. 4 years, boom, you need a new one. Years ago, you had a phone, it was like 30 years old hanging on your wall.
Yeah.
But I agree. If you can find one like that and you're into doing garage sales and things like that, I totally agree. Under the sink organizers, try and find 3-tier pull-out organizers. This helps maximize limited cabinet space. So where you can stock them and you can just pull them out. Like I said before, make sure pot holders and placemats and trivets. You need trivets. People go, what's a trivet? Well, a trivet is
What's a
something that you can put your pots on. Now, I had granite, so I can put anything on my thing right off the stove. But if you don't have granite, you're going to take your pots, pans, whatever, and put it on your countertop, and you're going to burn them. And then your landlord is going to be charging you for destruction of property. So you get these little trivets at the store, and you can just put your pots right on that. Better than pot holder because sometimes the heat from a pot holder goes through.
How to say about that as a is pot holders.
Welcome back, everybody. Now we're just finishing up, touching on basic kitchen gadget essentials. Have pot holders, trivets, things that are going to keep you safe, your hands from the heat, and your counters safe. And a dish drying rack or a mat. That's essential if you don't have a dishwasher. I have a dishwasher. I don't cook, so I don't use it. So I really enjoy my dish drying rack. I don't prefer the mats because it just sits on there and the water sits on the mat and it's not really draining out. And then I'm thinking, oh, bacteria is forming under the air because you got the mold and wet on the mat.
Yeah.
I like the drying rack. And last, I have a trash can. You want a compact, functional, possibly with recycling if you can find one. Sometimes they have the two sides. I used to have one of those when I had a family and you had your trash and then you had the other side, which was your recycle stuff. Arizona doesn't recycle. So it would be useless to have that in Arizona. But California and where I live here in Nevada, recycling is a big thing. So I always have my own recycle bag and a trash bag. Now I'll tell you my preference. I hate trash cans because they're disgusting. People throw stuff in them, gets on the top, nobody cleans them, and they're gross looking. it's a mess. It makes me nauseous to a trash can. So I take little grocery bags and I'll hang them on my sliding glass door on the handle. I'll hang it and once a day. It's one bag a day. That's it. I don't want trash building up in my kitchen and smelling. And then you have bugs and everything else. Garbage and trash to me is disgusting. So that's my
My
take on it.
your trash talk.
Yeah, that's my trash talk. I definitely.
Here in California, they eliminated even the 10-cent bags. Everything is paper bag now. All right, continuing with our trash talk. Um, one of the things that when I lived in Germany, we had I had 8 different trash cans.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because they not only separate, they have paper trash, like your milk carton trash. They have
Right.
aluminum trash, separate trash can for, and um, the food trash, food waste, just food waste. Then they have all the bottles. They separate it. Then you have glass, all the different colors of glass:
Oh
brown
God.
glass, grain glass, clear glass, and then anything else that didn't fit into those categories was that. And try not recycling the trash in Germany where you couldn't whatever. And I was like, hell will freeze over before I dig through the trash separating all that stuff. So I had 8 different trash cans
Oh God.
inside the kitchen so I wouldn't have to separate everything, because I was not going to separate the trash like that. So when I came back, I was horrified. I was like, you're throwing all of that in together so freely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, horrified when I came back to the States and saw everybody just throwing in everything all together. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Because they actually, we had people guarding the trash cans. People would lock their trash things up because you would get fined, you know, big time. And some people even went to jail for trash
Oh
dumping
God.
all because they don't want to separate it, trying to dump it in other people's stuff. When I was so it
No,
was
I
crazy.
think recycling is a real big thing. I mean, and when I moved to Arizona after 30 some odd years in California, I was like, well, where's my other pail? And they're like, what other pail? The pail for recycle. Oh, we don't recycle. Well, do you have a place where I can bring my bottles or my cans? Or no. And I'm like, well, what do you do? So I throw my food trash, my garden trash, and my bottles and cans and everything else all in the same thing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's not really good, you know?
Yeah.
But you can't do anything else. I mean, what we used to do is we used to save the bottles and the cans. And then when we would go to California to visit people, we used to bring the big trash bags with that in it. Then we'd go to the recycle center and you'd get your money for them. Just not for the money, but it was just the whole idea. But I couldn't see
Right.
wasting these things. And I would take my grandkids and it's like, okay, we're going to go recycle. You grab this bag, you grab that bag, whatever you get from your bags, that's your money to keep. And it was like a game. But
In
it just,
Germany, it was like that too. We got our money back for all of
well,
the glass. We take the glass, and they even had little glass things like I said, separating it by color. You put your green bottles in one thing and get your
yeah,
money back. And it was just it was really cool. Now here in California, they don't have bags anymore, so we're kind of I'm so surprised when I see your cheap little Walmart trash bags. I used to use them for kitty litter. Um,
oh, yeah.
we we don't even have the um those bags. We don't even have the stronger 10-cent bags anymore.
Oh,
Um,
no.
I'll have some left over that's in my cart, but you can't find them here anymore. They've gone to paper trash, and God, if you try to throw something away that's wet or whatever, so you're forced to buy the big hefty bags
Right,
and the
right.
ones, or you know because you don't get the free ones anymore. Yeah, so that's
Oh,
my
yeah.
trash on that.
And
Um,
people used to laugh at me when you have a bag of bags. I go, I got about 8 bags of bags, depending on what size. Now, why do you say bags? And it's like, one day you may not be able to get these, and these are great for trash. Because I mean,
they are.
I've got an
They make
aversion to trash. And when you live in areas
trash.
where they have bugs, you cannot have trash cans full when you got bugs. I mean, I get my place sprayed once a month. I don't have bugs. But I've seen other people, oh, and since I was like, no, 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 no. And the smell of it, it's nauseating. I don't even like to see trash in my bathroom trash cans.
Well, one thing my grandma taught me too, speaking of trash talk, is like any of your food waste, like um, your chicken skin or your chicken bones and things like that. If you put it in the freezer, put it in
Yes.
a Ziploc bag, put it in the
Yep.
freezer until trash day, then your
Oh,
trash
yeah.
doesn't stink up.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So that's another tip that I got. Even like your grease and stuff like that, I put it after it cools down, of course.
Hmm.
That into a Ziploc bag and put that in the freezer and then throw it out and then it doesn't stink because even your grease and stuff like that can stink. And some things you need to watch what you put down the sink because sometimes grease take um your whatever type of system that you might have.
Right.
Grandparents had a septic system, so it was very sensitive. You couldn't put a lot of things down the drain. You had to be very careful with that.
Well, you don't want to put grease down a drain anyways, because you see what happens when it gets down. I mean, it goes in a drain and it goes like this. So that
Yeah.
spot down at the bottom, that little curved spot, that's where it's going to sit until the next thing flushes it out. So now
Right.
that's just going to solidify, and now you're going to have a clogged drain. And you
Mhm.
also are, like on the West Coast, we have garbage disposals. You guys be very careful what you put in your garbage disposals. And a hint, if you break a glass, put it in your garbage disposal. The glass will sharpen your blades, as do
Now that
eggshells.
I never hear about. That's a
Yes,
new one. I love that.
yes, yes. So
That's
those
great.
are little things. But I don't throw a lot of stuff in my garbage disposal because it does stink after a while. And I
It
always
really
do, like at the end of the day, I'll do like a teaspoon of baking soda and throw it in my garbage disposal. And I'll just let it sit there just to kind of clean and disinfect everything. Um, but I mean, you guys may not be as OCD and fanatic about germs as I am. But if you listen to me, you'll never have to worry about having germs.
No, exactly. I'd recommend everybody take a class in microbiology. That'll change your life
Oh
forever.
God.
You will
Oh yeah.
you will be OCD clean
Oh
freak
yes.
after a microbiology class.
Oh yeah. It's a fear.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that these little bugs and things like that will make that they're harmless now, but let them get inside your body.
Oh God.
Um, it, you know, it, you know, it'll make you not only sick, but it'll also make you dead.
Right.
You shouldn't have
And that
daisies.
and that's the thing is, people, when you go into a doctor's office and you tell them I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way, okay, they're going to think of the most logical reasons of why you're feeling that way. I always tell people as a nurse, they call it the practice of medicine for a reason because it's a constant practice. If you go in and your arm's hanging off, they know what's wrong. You go in bleeding to death, they know what's wrong. But if you go in with symptoms that they can't see, they don't even think parasites and everything else. And I've known people that almost lost their lives to having parasites and lost a good 3 years of their life and almost died until one doctor said, well, tell me about, when you first, and found out that when that person was on their honeymoon in this place, and right away he just
Mhm.
parasite treated her for that. And I mean, the woman was back to new, but she lost 3 years with her children, her husband. She was bedridden. She couldn't walk. She couldn't write. She couldn't even feed herself. She was on feeding
They're
tubes.
so overworked in hospitals and things like that they just want to treat your symptoms and get you out.
Right.
They don't have time to investigate everything. So the more
No,
and sometimes they can be wrong. So not everybody's perfect. Like you said, it's a practice. So the more information that
right.
um, and the safer that you can keep yourself, which is also which brings me to this point. Um, no, if you are getting to know these things and you don't even know these things, imagine the average person that doesn't know these kitchen hygiene
Right.
things on what to do and what not to do. They're cutting meat first with those scissors and then they don't wash it off and then they're cutting their vegetables too.
Yeah.
They're not separating their things but you're going to the potluck at work
Yeah.
or the average potluck, you don't know how they are
No.
cooking their food. You don't know if they're uh, petting the dog or scratching this or that on their body or somebody else's while they're cooking.
Or the cat
And,
walked across the counter after getting out of the litter box. Yeah, all those different things. It's like,
all of those possibilities. And then their kitchen isn't even clean. So
right,
they got germs from wherever. They're not cooking that you don't know if they're cooking their food to the right temperature. And I know my mom made fun of me when I was baking something for something at work and I put my name on it and she's like, that's a bit narcissistic of you, isn't it?" I said, "Well, no, not really." I said, it's so people know that I have a reputation and people know that my food is safe to eat."
right, right.
And if I know who made it, I know their cleaning habits and I'll know that their food is safe to eat. So, I
Right.
generally don't do work potlucks. And if I do participate and take something, it's usually, if it's not brand new out of a box or I don't know who made it, I don't eat it because I
Yeah.
don't know their kitchen habits.
Right.
And, this is essential that you can get these kitchen habits so that your food can be safe. And if you decide to cook for other people, that people know that you have that clean reputation and that they can eat your food.
Exactly. And now I'm going to give you a question. What is the number one top most important thing to have in your kitchen?
I have
Lysol
to.
wipes.
Oh yeah.
Lysol wipes. When you are cooking, clean, you have chicken, it's on the counter, whatever else, you wipe everything down. People always sponge and soap and water. You're just smearing it away. You
Exactly.
use Lysol wipes with bleach. And anytime you are dealing with chicken of any kind, you're cutting it up, cleaning it by the sink, you disinfect your sink before you do anything else in that sink, or you will end up with salmonella. And on that happy note,
Have a few more things. Almost everything that we for kitchen gadgets we had already mentioned. So I'll just recap the things that you had already brought up and anything else that I have on my list. I'll go through because I know you're not a cooker, Debbie. Um, we mentioned digital thermometer, food processor, or a mini chopper. Sometimes they
right?
have those hand mini choppers. High power blender, Debbie, you mentioned that. Uh, a scale. Sometimes I don't think we mentioned the scale. Sometimes depending on what you're cooking or a recipe they want, or if you're portioning your food, a scale is helpful for that.
Yeah.
Um, Talked about a rice cooker, box grater, and the different types of grater. Talked about a salad spinner, and I thought that was interesting. I've never heard of a salad spinner. Uh,
I've
Properly
heard
drying.
about, but
Have you heard of
yes,
them?
I have. And let me just, okay. A salad spinner is great if you're making a salad and then you're going to eat it all that day. But my problem with salads is very rarely do you ever finish it. And now you've got wet stuff like a cucumber in with your spinach, and you've got tomatoes that you slice and they're in there with your spinach and everything. And after a while, everything in your salad gets soggy and everything else. Um, Preferably for me, when I'm making a salad, I will cut up my spinach into one container. I'll cut up my broccoli in one, cauliflower in another, and my onions in one. And when I make a salad, I'll go in and I'll take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because that's all I'm going to eat. I'm not wasting anything and I'm not mixing that stuff. Because some stuff, I can go back in 5 days later and have some of that spinach. But if it's got all that juice and stuff from everything else, no, now it's
Yeah.
tainted. So,
You can't
salad
store it after
spinners,
that.
no. So
Yeah,
to
it's
me,
not good.
salad spinners, it's like, what's the big deal? If you want to do that, put it in a bowl, put the lid and go, there's your spinner.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I
I
thought that
think
was
it's a waste
interesting. I
of
wanted
money.
to bring that up
Yeah.
specifically
It's a
to
waste
ask
of
you.
money. I've had one only because
I
it
I
was, again, yeah,
I wanted
waste.
to ask you about that because I was like, "I've never heard of that. I've never
Yeah.
had one." But, I was like, "I'm guessing that it's like mixture stuff." I did the same thing. I keep all my stuff separately,
Yeah.
and then if I wanna mix it together, I put it in a bowl with a lid and shake it up like a
Right.
martini.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And the only other thing I had was a dough cutter or a scraper. That's very handy if you're making your own pasta or cookie dough and things like that. And
Yeah.
then Debbie, you mentioned the air fryer and the toaster, and that's all I had for that. So we have the same things, great minds think alike. That's
Yes,
all
we
I
do.
have on kitchen gadgets.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I mean, like I said, just always make sure you have those Lysol bleach wipes because you'll save yourself and your family and friends from food poisoning and whatever else. And always, people, when you are working with chicken, wash your hands before touching anything else. Don't start doing with your chicken, go over here to something over here because now you've got that on your hands. The minute you let go of that chicken and go somewhere else, wash your hands thoroughly. And I can't say this enough as a nurse, but hand washing is the key to staying healthy. And on that
Yeah,
happy note, I'm done.
I'm done too.
All right.
Well, stay curious, everybody.
Oh,
Make sure to remain for our next talk, which is kitchen.
cookware.
Yep, kitchen cookware and prep and things that you'll need for prepping your food in the kitchen. Actual
Awesome.
nuts on that. So we will see you in the next episode. And put what
Yes.
your favorite, write in the comments what any questions that you have. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe as well.
And
That
also
way-
give us any information that we may not have covered that maybe you've known or found out about, and we can pass on to others because it's all
Yeah,
about communication and sharing, people.
add is caring.
Yes, it is. Bye,
Bye, everyone.
guys.
If you're all about staying curious and having fun, you're in right place. Follow us here at Unpopular Playground. Make sure to share this with your young adult and high school friends. You can reach out to us at Unpopular Playground 1791 with your questions, or even just to say hi. Stay curious, see you